Hey everyone, welcome to another installment of Around the League. Today we are revisiting our video for a college conference known as the Horizon League. Now this is a conference that is consisting of 12 schools this upcoming college sports season, all kind of centered around the Great Lakes Midwest region. 12 schools which are full members of this conference, I should say. This conference also has multiple affiliate members. We will not be touching on them in this video. If you want to find all of those affiliate or associate members, you can find them in their own full conference videos. Feel free to just look up which member of a conference they are. But we're going to start this video by going over to Wisconsin. There are two schools in Wisconsin that are members of this conference, both called the University of Wisconsin in some capacity, but they are in different cities. First one is up in Green Bay, and this is the University of Wisconsin, Green Bay. So, better just known as Green Bay, the Green Bay Phoenix, located just to the east of town. They're the green and white and silver of UWGB. Their co-University of Wisconsin brothers are down to the south in Milwaukee. So if we go down the coast of Lake Michigan here and zoom in on Milwaukee, the school we're looking for here is the University of Wisconsin, Milwaukee. And if we go to the north of downtown Milwaukee here up the coast, up on Hartford Avenue is UWM or UW Milwaukee. This is home to the Milwaukee Panthers. Of course, they do play a lot of their arena sports downtown. If we zoom in here, just to the south of Fiserv Forum is the arena known as UW Milwaukee Panther Arena, located right there downtown off of Kilbourne and State. That is home to the basketball and arena sports teams of UW Milwaukee, like I said, known as the Milwaukee Panthers. Zoom out here, there are two schools over in Michigan. If we go across the way over in Michigan, the first one we're going to touch on is in the town of Rochester. So if we zoom in to the very south of the state here, Rochester is going to be located over in the Detroit area. Zoom in on Detroit. Two schools in that Detroit area. If we go all the way up to the area known as Auburn Hills. Of course, if you're a basketball fan, you'll be very familiar with Auburn Hills as the former home of the Detroit Pistons. But up in this area, the Oakland area specifically, we are looking for the university known as Oakland University, which is just to the north here of Oakland Community College, right there home to the Oakland Golden Grizzlies. Now, of course, one might think that Oakland University is in California. There is no Oakland University that exists in D1 sports in California, so of course, Oakland University in D1 sports, and the member of the Horizon League is located here in Rochester, Michigan. But if we zoom into the south and go to downtown Detroit, we should be able to find that other school in Michigan, which is known as the University of Detroit Mercy. Historically known as Detroit College, did merge at one point with a school known as Mercy, now, like I said, known as the University of Detroit Mercy. And their primary campus is going to be located also to the north of downtown if we zoom in on kind of the Dearborn area. So zoom out here, and there we find it to the north of Highland Park. This is the University of Detroit Mercy, home to the Detroit Mercy Titans, or commonly just known as the Detroit Titans. They do have some field sports that play there at Titan Field, but for the most part, this is a non-football, non-field sports school. You'll traditionally know them more for their basketball program. We did end up skipping over Illinois. There is one school in Illinois. It is joining this conference this year, and it at one point was home to a friend of mine who I want to shout out if he's listening to the channel. Straight west of Chicago is the town of DeKalb, Illinois. And there in DeKalb is a member of the Mountain West Football Conference, but a full member of the Horizon League as of this season, of course, joining from the MAC. This is Northern Illinois University. Husky Stadium located right there. That was the home of a very, very embarrassing loss by Notre Dame a couple of seasons ago. But Husky Stadium, they're home to the NIU Huskies of Northern Illinois University. Let's go down to Indiana. There are two schools in Indiana. The first one we're going to touch on is up in Fort Wayne. This is the school known as Purdue University, not the one you're thinking of from the Big Ten. This is Purdue University, Fort Wayne. So the best way to find it is to go straight north and slightly east next to the river here. This is Purdue University, Fort Wayne, home to the Fort Wayne Mastodons. Zoom out here and we go down to Indianapolis, to a school that is technically new, but that comes with a caveat. Of course, the reason it's new is because historically this school has also been associated with Purdue University. They have since left that affiliation and remain solely the responsibility of the University System of Indiana. This school is known as Indiana University, Indianapolis, or now IU-Indy. Of course, historically, you might know it as IUPUI. When they left that Purdue association a few years ago, they did rebrand as IU-Indy, but the Jaguars located just to the west of downtown there. 3 schools in the state of Ohio. We zoom out here and we're going to start near Dayton. This is a school that I am very familiar with. If we zoom in on Dayton, we are looking for the town nearby known as Fairborn. So Fairborn is going to be located to the east here, right next to the National Museum of the U.S. Air Force Base at Wright-Patterson. This is Wright State University, named, of course, after the Wright brothers who were from the Dayton area, despite their first flight being in North Carolina. The Wright State Raiders, located there, of course, their arena sports play here at, I kid you not, the Nutter Center. But we zoom out here and go to the other 2 schools in the state of Ohio that make up this conference. First one is up in Cleveland. This is the school known as Cleveland State University. So if we zoom in on downtown, go slightly to the east here, Cleveland State going to be located partially in downtown here. That, of course, is home to the Cleveland State Vikings, the green and white of Cleveland State there. They typically play their arena sports there at the Wolstein Center or the Wolstein Center, depending on who you ask. But there to the east of Cleveland is CSU. And last but not least, for the Ohio schools, we go over to the very eastern edge of the state and find the only school in D1 sports known as the Penguins. Youngstown State University, alphabetically last of all of the D1 schools. YSU, the Penguins, located there in Youngstown, Ohio. Their closest rival comes across the way here in Pennsylvania. If we go across the state border and go down to Pittsburgh, right next to Pittsburgh, we are going to find Moon Township. Of course, we have to find the airport in Pittsburgh to find this university. And if we go to the west over by the airport here, we are going to find Robert Morris University. Of course, they are a hockey school, generally, when I think of them, at least in my circles, but the Robert Morris Colonials play their sports, or at least their field sports, there at Joe Walton Stadium on the western edge of campus, just to the west, like I said, of Pittsburgh and just north of Pittsburgh International Airport. One more school we haven't touched on in this conference, the 12th member comes down in Kentucky. If we zoom in on Cincinnati, we go right across the border into Kentucky, and we should be fairly easily able to find the school known as Northern Kentucky University. Go to the south here, there in Highland Heights, you're going to find Truist Arena, as well as the Recreation Center on the campus of NKU. The Northern Kentucky Norse, the black and gold of Northern Kentucky, located there, just like I said, to the south of Cincinnati. But those are all 12 schools that will make up the Horizon League going forward, starting here in 2026. Let me know what you thought of this video in the comments section below. If there are other conferences that you want us to cover or revisit our videos too, if they are out of date, let me know in the comments section below. Otherwise, check out the Around the League folder. There's plenty more college sports content as well as non-college sports content that you can find for leagues around the world. Otherwise, feel free to like, share, subscribe, and hopefully we'll see you back on the channel sometime very, very soon.